What's a 900 horsepower drifting Mustang got to do with the Otago Rally? Well, everything, when the man involved is Daniel Woolhouse, or Fanga Dan, as he's known down under in Kiwi land. Fanga Dan is behind the wheel of the Rosendale RS 1800 this weekend. So, a simple question, they're both Fords, but how different is the Escort?
Well, it is a lot different. Like when we're on the tarmac, we're throwing as maximum angle as we can and trying to go as fast as we can as well. Now, on the gravel, we're trying to keep it a lot smoother coming in, not as much angle, but you're still, I'm still finding the limits of that, getting that grip and that drive to hit the apex, exactly like what we do in drifting as well. The car's sideways, as soon as you see the apex, you want to stand on it and drive through it. I've got nothing to prove. I just want to go and have fun and show that drifters do have a skill and yeah, do our best and finish.
And finish he did in the top 10 amongst some classic champions. Was he surprised?
Yeah, definitely. You know, like these guys have been driving these roads for 20 plus years, just like I've been driving Pukekohe for 20 odd years, you know. To expect any driver from this sport to come in and go to Pukekohe and do 200k entries, that's a big ask as well, you know. So yeah, I feel like I'm doing really well. I don't want to scratch it. I want to finish and show that, you know, we do have a lot of skill and that drifting is a very professional sport.
Long before drifting was a professional sport, the only way to drift was in a rally car, something Fanga knows all too well.
Growing up watching the BDA Escorts, I had the Mazda four-wheel drive BG familiars, and yeah, absolutely loved and appreciate like what rallying is here in New Zealand. It's got you know, it's quite cool to turn up and cars like these still being used, where, you know, you look at old supercars and things like that, like they just end up, there's no class for them anymore and they get parked up just about, you know, they just end up in showrooms, where it's cool that there's still competitive driving for, you know, the classics.
And these classics, well, they're certainly still competitive. Did Fanga Dan have any idea that Hayden Padden actually won this event outright against all the four-wheel drives in a BDA Escort back in 2015?
No, I didn't know that, and that is absolutely amazing because, you know, there's some bloody quick, you know, four-wheel drives and stuff like that, and I'm finding that I'm scrambling to get that grip down and just on some of the sections, but to win it outright, that's very impressive.
Impressive it might be, but so too is Fanga Dan's first attempt at rallying, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. 8th outright in a field of nearly 30 classic cars. Up front in the classic field, Deane Buist's overnight lead disappeared when first the fuel pump failed before the first stage, then he lost third gear mid-stage. In 11, a moment on a tight corner was a bit of a reality check.
We came out, we ended up running wide and ended up in the grass and threw a bit of a bang through a drain, you know. We've lost, third gear's gone.
All that left the door wide open for Jeff Judd, who moved up into the number 1 spot. The surprise through 40 flat though was Jonty Brenzel in a 1600 Starlet, who took the stage win by 1.5 seconds. Sadly, the engine in Judd's Escort stopped 3 stages from the end, meaning Buist would win his 3rd Otago rally. John Silcock moved up to 2nd in the Group B RX-7. He'd been putting pressure on the League 2 Classics all day.
We've been going good today. Just wasn't brave enough in the dust yesterday morning, probably.
3rd was Shane Merlin. He was consistently 4th all weekend until this turn of events. 3 brands. A Group B Turbo Celica, a Group B Mazda RX-7, and a Ford Escort RS 1800. All very different rally cars fighting it out for bragging rights in a classic field of some 30 cars. keep in mind, COVID, once again, prevented the usual influx of international teams from Australia and beyond that can easily swell that field to 50 cars. Well, who'd have thought a classic field could rival and sometimes exceed a national championship? And speaking of that, Mark, what's the latest action at the serious end of the competition?
What an interesting day, Colin. Certainly no lead change in the classic four-wheel drive class, with Steve Cox holding a handy lead.
Yeah, no, we're definitely enjoying the weekend, and yeah, we've had a pretty good grip. The others have sort of managed to fall by the wayside a little bit, so and we've had good pace all rally.
Simon Bell lost a couple of minutes to let Amy Keeley in for second overall. In the Allcomers category, Regan Ross continued to dominate. Hardly surprising though, given his car is a Ford Fiesta R5. But why Allcomers?
I wanted to sort of have one more crack in this car. Obviously love this rally and enjoy driving the car and on these roads and do that. We're not interested in that championship. Our focus is sort of on the silver fern at the end of the year, so we want to jump back in the Escort. Hit the ground running with that really and get back up to speed in the Escort so we can try and give some of these internationals a run when they turn up.
His old adversary from classic days, Marcus van Klink, is pedalling a two-wheel drive and doing all he can to stay in touch with the four-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's going pretty good at the moment. You say it was a great day, and we had good speed against all the four drives this morning. A bit tougher in the forest, so we're losing a wee bit of time to the people behind us. But our plan is to go out and try and maintain that lead. But we'll see. We're going as hard as we can.
In the National Championship, Hayden Paddon continued today as he finished day one. He extended his lead over Ben Hunt. He regards it as his home rally. Hardly surprising, he's won it a record 8 times. Robbie Stokes began well, but the wrong tyre choice started a series of issues that saw the Fiesta needing some TLC at Lake Waihola service.
Started off well, and then I think we took a bit of a gamble on the tyres. It was a bit of back and forth last night what we were going to put on the car, but I think we went the wrong way and didn't last the loop, and towards the end of Emerald Heights we had a pretty high speed spin, got away with it, and then Waipori Gorge right at the end of that. Car doesn't seem to like Waipori Gorge. It's never gone too well through there. At least we got through this year, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, did a bit of damage on the front, but the crew should be able to fix it and we'll get back out and get to the finish.
Despite penalties for a brake caliper problem causing delays in the morning, Emma Gilmore moved back up from 6th to 4th. But a centre diff issue later in the day allowed Robbie Stokes into the final 4. Rana Horan secured the final spot on the podium. There wasn't much Ben Hunt could do with the number 1 car ahead on the road. Without further problems today, Hayden Paddon secured his 9th victory in his home event, a record unlikely to ever be eclipsed.
It's obviously a happy hunting ground for us, and it's been a good rally for us. A few little niggles here and there, and not quite the cleanest rally that we would have liked, but at the end of the day, awesome result. Team done an awesome job, and best way to start the season.